Hello everyone and welcome to another Fusion 360 quick tip video. Today we will be discussing how to set up and utilize your pan, zoom and orbit commands within our software. The best place to start with your controls is by looking into your preferences. Within this dialog, we can see the available presets and there is a link to a blog post in the description of this video for exact information on each one. Each of these options will have small differences. For instance, most of the Autodesk products use Shift and middle mouse button to orbit, whereas SolidWorks uses just the middle mouse button. If you have experience with any of these computer-aided engineering programs, then I would always recommend going with what is familiar to you. For computer-aided engineering newcomers, maybe try a few out and work out which command is most utilized and choose the preset with that bound to just the middle mouse button, as you'll be using that the most. The next choices we have are a bit more specific. First, we have our orbit type, free or constrained. These will behave slightly differently and are again up to personal preference and may roll over from previous software usage. For instance, our Power Mill software uses a constrained orbit, so that will be pre-selected with that preset. The constrained orbit is slightly more simple, constraining the axis in which you orbit, but the best way is to try it out and see what you prefer. We then have a few more options, for instance, reversing our zoom direction. This will change whether scrolling up or down on your mouse wheel will correspond to zooming in or out. The next setting is to enable or disable camera pivot. This sounds confusing, but it's very clear to see the difference. With it disabled, you always orbit around the center of your camera, which is the center of your Fusion window. With it enabled, you will actually orbit around a central point within your part or assembly. The final input is to enable gesture-based inputs, which will be very helpful for those using Mac trackpads or the Apple Magic Mouse. I've also attached one of our help articles to show the gestures that are used for both those devices. Finally, a couple of additional tips and tricks when using pan, zoom and orbit. Using named views can be really helpful when you find a specific view that you like and maybe want to use it for something like a render or just to show various details in your part. This can be easily set up by right-clicking the Named Views folder and selecting New Named View. Also, if you're ever struggling with middle mouse button based orbiting, the view cube in the top right is a great way to snap to different views like top or bottom views. These can easily be reassigned to allow you complete control of that view cube by right-clicking and assigning the current view as either the top or the front. The remaining views will correspond to those views that you set. As always, I really hope that this helps with setting up your pan, zoom and orbit commands. Be sure to check out those two links in the description for more detail and stay tuned to our YouTube channel for more quick tips.